In Havana, Fidel Castro is also preparing for the worst.
Al mediodía del día 22.
At noon on the 22nd, it was announced that Kennedy would be addressing the nation that night. And we knew as soon as we heard that it would concern Cuba, because they have discovered the missiles.
A las 15:50.
At 3:50 p.m., the armed forces were put on alert.
Nuestras fuerzas armadas fueron levantadas en alerta de combate.
At 5:45, the combat alarm was sounded, which means the men were in the trenches with weapons in their hands.
Plena alarma de combate, los hombres en la trinchera y todos los hombres en sus posiciones.
The United States military is on high alert, and the world braces for Kennedy's speech. At 7 p.m. on October 22nd, President Kennedy addresses the American public.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere. It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Kennedy's speech echoes throughout the world. The seriousness of the crisis is now exposed. U.S. Strategic Air Command places the armed forces to a higher defense condition. DEFCON 3.
When Kennedy announced that the missiles were deployed in Cuba, it was a very serious situation, and war was something that could happen at any moment.
We heard President Kennedy on the radio telling the American people that we were on the verge of thermonuclear war. About 10 divisions were gathering in Florida for the invasion of Cuba. We received orders from headquarters for a 4-hour readiness for the use of our nuclear-tipped torpedo. Khrushchev believed that if anyone should stop our convoys, then our submarines should sink them, while I considered this to be a risky approach.
U-2 photographs have convinced the experts in Washington that there are Soviet missiles in Cuba. But to make a conclusive case to the rest of the world, detailed close-up photographs are needed. The responsibility for capturing those photographs would fall on Navy Commander William ECKER of Light Photographic Squadron 62.
After I took off, there was a strong west wind, and I was flying just a compass course, and I happened to, about after 10 or 11 minutes, I looked up, and there at 11 o'clock was the Havana skyline, and I thought, oh boy, they're going to know we're coming. So I just turned a little more to the right, headed out to Mariel, and then turned south for about 2 minutes, and I looked down, and there they were.
On the 22nd, they were flying at altitudes as low as 100 meters over us. We could even see the pilot in his helmet.
I saw the missiles, and they were covered with a camouflage netting, but I could see that they had missile launchers and so forth down there, or trailers, and all kinds of equipment. So I'm there, 1, 2, 3 seconds, and depart.
Although risky, ECKER's high-speed mission is a success, and the photographs he took left no doubt what was there.